All right guys, welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm gonna be breaking down fully how to get ripped. All the things you should do and all the mistakes you need to avoid because I have made them all. First things first, what is the goal when it comes to getting ripped? The goal is to lose fat, as much fat as possible, and to keep muscle, okay? The goal should always be to get ripped, to get beach lean. There's beach lean, there's ripped, and then there's shredded. The goal should always be to get ripped, which is also, 10 to 12% body fat. You should want to just get nice, kind of like this now. Nice, healthy, lean look that people actually like. Step one is diet. It is the most important part of everything. At 80% diet, 20% training. When it comes to getting ripped, remember, there's so many people that are going to be watching this. But if your goal is to lose body fat, everyone must do the same thing in some regard, right? Which is find your maintenance calories. Once you've found your maintenance number, we're going to drop down around 200 to 500 calories below your maintenance. If I was you and you have a long way to go, 20, 30 kilos, I'm going 200 calories below. If you've just got, like me, for example, 4, 5, 6 weeks, you can afford to be more aggressive. But guys, the goal is to maintain this result over time. Remember that, okay? Now we've got protein, carbs, fats. Protein, let's keep it simple, okay? 1 gram per pound of body weight, whether you're male or female. 2.2 grams per kilo, 1 gram per pound. Fat, 20 to 30% of overall calories. Carbs, the rest. That is a solid setup. If you love your fats, go 30%. If you love your carbs, go 20%. Protein remains the same, carbs are the rest. 4 calories in a gram of protein, 4 calories in a gram of carbohydrates, 9 calories in a gram of fat. So we know that we have to establish a deficit to lose body fat. This is going to be the ultimate guide to getting ripped. I wanted to put it all out there for you guys. Now, let's come down here because so many people just get this wrong. BMR, basal metabolic rate. We have the thermic effect of food here. We have non-exercise activity thermogenesis, and then we have exercise activity. That is your total daily energy expenditure. All the calories you burn in a day, it kind of boils down to this. Have a look at the overall number of calories that is burnt from exercise. It's around 15%. So the overall number of calories that you burn in a day from exercise is about 15%. So the people out there that just think they can just go to the gym for 45 minutes, do a bit of arms, a bit of training, and eat whatever they want, this is why you never see progress, because it's such a small part of the day. And then we have NEAT, which is non-exercise activity thermogenesis, which is 15%. This is all of the movement you do outside of training. So think, me right now, I'm burning calories, okay? Fidgeting, talking, ends up being a pretty hefty amount of calories overall. What you'll find, guys, is as you start to go deep into a diet and start to lose fat, your NEAT will slow down. This is why it's so important to track steps. Because I guarantee you, if you're not tracking your steps, you'll end up just by default, just decreasing how much your body moves. The body will slow down. Then we have the thermic effect of food. Around 10% of our overall calories are burnt through digestion. And that pretty much comes from protein. I'm not gonna go into it massively, but around 20% of overall calories from protein are burnt through digestion. And it's like 2 or 3% for carbs and fats, very, very minimal. This is why a high protein diet tends to lead to a leaner physique. It has a high thermic effect, it allows us to keep muscle. Remember, muscle is your metabolism's best friend. The more muscle we have, the better our metabolism will be. But check this out, not up. BMR, basic metabolic rate. This is the majority of your calories, okay? The majority of your calories burned in a day come through this. And this comes down to things like your age, your height, your weight, how much muscle you have. It's so important, guys, when trying to get ripped, that strength training becomes a huge part of your routine because it will increase your BMR, and the bulk of our calories are burned from here, not from exercise, okay? Step 2 is training, okay? So we know the diet side of it, we know what we need to focus on. Strength training is number 1, okay? By strength training, Don't just think powerlifting, think resistance training, think training your whole body. We want to strength train in that 6 to 15 rep range. That has to be priority. Now, frequency, which is very important as well, is how often do you train a week? We're looking at 3, 4, or 5 times a week, okay? We don't need to do more than that. And then this leads us nicely into volume. How much volume are you putting through a muscle group? Around 10 to 20 sets per muscle group per week. So you're better off splitting your workouts into training 3, 4, or 5 times a week. So you can train your chest, for example, 4 or 5 sets, 3, 4, 5 times a week, and you can get your volume that way, and you're able to lift more load by doing so. And if we can lift more load, we can keep more muscle. If we can keep more muscle, we can keep our BMR higher. If we can keep that higher, we burn more calories at rest, okay? Now, progressive overload, very, very important. In a fat loss phase, we want to maintaining strength. So obviously, we want to try and progress our lifts over time. If you're 100 kilos and you're bench pressing 100 kilos for 10, and then you diet down to 80 kilos and you're still bench pressing 100 kilos for 10, you are considerably stronger if you look at your body weight to strength ratio, okay? So the goal is to maintain our strength as much as possible. This allows us to keep our muscle, which is the goal, the most important part of this. And lastly, we want to focus on compound lifts, big lifts that work multiple muscle groups through this rep range, which makes it hard for us, okay? Squatting, back squats, front squats, hack squats, deadlifting, trap bar deadlift, Romanian deadlift, traditional deadlift, lunging, walking lunges, Bulgarian split squats, rows, chin-ups, pull-downs, presses, shoulder presses, dips. These movements are going to work as many muscles as possible. That is what we want in a fat loss phase. Moving into step 3. This again, guys, is very, very important, and this is cardio. With our cardio, we want to start as low as possible, and we're probably going to finish a lot higher. Start as low as possible, finish as high as possible. 3 20-minute sessions a week to start is fine, and over time, we are going to increase our cardio. As our bodies start to stall and we hit weight loss plateaus, we have a few things we can pull from. We can increase our cardio, or we can increase our training intensity or frequency or training volume. That's another thing I'd recommend. By increasing our cardio, we burn more calories. That increases our deficit, break through that plateau. By increasing our training volume, sets, whatever it is, adding drop sets, an extra day of training, it increases our calories burned, which again increases our deficit. The third thing we can do is increase our steps, again increases our deficit. And the fourth thing we should do, which is at the bottom of the list, which is the last thing you should do in a fat loss phase, is decrease calories. When you hit fat loss plateaus, which you will, we need to either increase cardio, increase steps, or increase training output. Do not drop food unless you absolutely have to. That is the most important part of this. If you look down here, guys, we want to favor steady state cardio, which is that heart rate between 130 and 140 beats per minute, Stairmaster, cycling. We want to favor that over high intensity interval training. The reason being is because HIIT training creates a massive amount of fatigue. When we create huge amounts of fatigue, we end up creating a lot of hunger, and it becomes a lot harder to stick to your calories. We also create so much fatigue from this training that it actually decreases our movement in the day. HIIT training is something I would look at in a maintenance phase and definitely in a surplus, okay? Steps. Steps aren't cardio, but steps are a big part of this. When setting your calories and setting your training plan and setting your cardio plan, you should set a step target. 8,000 steps a day to start, then you go to 10,000 steps a day, then you go to 12,000 steps a day. And this is all dependent on you. If you have a sit-down job and 12,000 steps is just impossible, you might be someone that increases cardio a little bit more and has to decrease calories as time goes on. I want to just take you through a quick chat with my client, Simon, who, because he was a barber, I'm going to put his pictures up on the screen, we were able to diet him down to a really low level of body fat without ever touching his calories. So we put him on about 3,000 calories, and then when he went back to work and he's a barber, a hairdresser, he was averaging 20,000 steps a day. We noticed he was just getting leaner and leaner and leaner. And because of his high output through his steps, we were able to achieve this transformation without changing his food. Okay, and then I'm going to take you through another client of mine, which is someone called Marwa. Her pictures are going to come up on the screen. She was someone over a 7-8 month period where we had to push her really hard. So we started at 2,000 calories. We ended up going down to 1,800, 1,600. We even finished on 1,400, all whilst increasing her steps and her cardio, because that's what it took, because she wanted to do a photo shoot and obviously ended up looking like this. Lastly, I had another client called Ella. As a busy mum, her diet never really changed, but we ended up taking her from 2 sessions a week at home with some dumbbells to getting her in the gym 3 times a week, and then she got a Peloton and we increased cardio, and then we ended up going from 104 kilos down to 67 kilos by pretty much just increasing training and cardio, and we never really had to touch her food. So there's thousands of ways to skin a cat when it comes to fat loss. And now, last thing guys, common mistakes. Crash diets, okay? Starting your calories too low, I wanna lose weight, 1,000 calorie deficit. 3 weeks later, you've binged, you've blown it, you've put the weight back on, and you end up losing a bit of weight, binging. Losing a bit of weight, binging. 6 weeks go by, you are the same weight, okay? Another mistake I see is people doing hours and hours of cardio. They think, well, I want to lose weight, so I need to run, I need to cycle, I need to do loads of cardio. And what they end up doing is hours and hours of cardio without any strength training. Muscle is expensive, okay? And if you do hours and hours of cardio and do not give your body a reason to maintain your muscle, your body will eat away at fat, but it will also eat away at muscle. The less muscle we have, the lower this comes, and we end up with a slower metabolism than before, and we end up decreasing our metabolism. And eventually, when that person isn't doing hours and hours of cardio and they start eating a lot of food again, they have a down-regulated metabolism because they have less muscle, because they burnt it all by doing hours and hours of cardio, and they end up rebounding and end up fatter than before. Another mistake I see, weekends not being tracked. I mean, this is a huge one. The amount of people that diet Monday to Friday, okay, and then Saturday and Sunday, they don't track anything and they drink loads of alcohol and they consume all those calories, the deficit is gone. Imagine you have a 500 calorie deficit. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 2,500 calories, yeah? And then Saturday and Sunday, you go 1,250 over because you have food, you have drinks. Sunday, you're hungover, you don't burn any calories. You are back to square one. Lost fat, gained it. Lost fat, gained it. Another mistake I see, going too fast too soon. If you've got 30 kilos to lose and you've been overweight for 20 years and you think you're just gonna get off the couch, right, 1,000 calorie deficit, 20,000 steps a day, I'll just do an hour of cardio in the morning and I'll just hit the weight 6 times a week, let's go, I'm just gonna smash it. You won't still be there in 2 weeks, we both know it. Slow and steady wins the race. This is a marathon. Another mistake I see is people eyeballing it. Oh, I don't need to track my calories, I'm just eyeballing it. We always underestimate how much we're eating. The studies say people underestimate by up to 20%, okay? We can easily underestimate by 300, 400, 500 calories a day. And as you can see, that can pull us out of our deficit straight back to maintenance calories. And then another mistake I see is people don't take diet breaks. So what I incorporate with my clients a lot of the time is a diet break where after maybe 16 weeks or 20 weeks, when you start to see the telltale signs, they're starting to get hungry, their body's sore, they're not recovering, you're tracking their training, their lifts are starting to decrease, you say, right, for the next 2 weeks, we are going to take your calories up to maintenance. So we're gonna add 500 calories a day in, and we're gonna drop your cardio down to a minimum amount. We're just gonna cut it in half. And what this is gonna do is it's gonna give you a bit of a mental break. Some extra food is gonna come in, but it's not so much that you're gonna blow up in weight. And what this does is it gives them a little bit of a refresh. It allows them to kind of get some stability back in their life, some structure, decrease their hunger a little bit, and what you'll find is they end up coming back ready to finish the job. Diet breaks are really useful when it comes to long-term fat loss. Lastly, another common mistake I see is the time frame. People think they can pull 20 kilos off in 12 weeks. I've been coaching for years, guys. Very, very few people can pull 20 kilos off in 20 weeks. Your goal should be to lose 1% of your body weight a week, okay? That is a nice, solid amount of weight to lose, and it puts you in a good place to maintain this result. And that's pretty much it. So I know that was a long one. I've been wanting to do more educational videos like this. If you enjoyed this or found it helpful, I am a coach myself, and you can fill out my coaching application below and we can have a chat to see if we're a good fit for each other. If you like these style of videos, guys, let me know. Let me know what you want me to film, because I really enjoy making this style of content, and I'm going to be putting more and more effort into these videos. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.